Good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful evening while staying safe in your homes. Tonight, we will be offering you the perfect discussion and inspiration for those who are having a hard time coping up with their businesses. As we all know, the pandemic is still upon us, and cases, unfortunately, are still rising. And as small and medium enterprise owners, I myself am one. I know it's been a very tough period. And that is why we are presenting this wonderful opportunity for your business to move forward and bounce back. Before I tell you more about that, let me introduce myself. My name is Valerie Tan of Chinoy TV. On behalf of our partner, Man Smith and Fielders, the leading training and consultancy company in the Philippines, I'd like to welcome you to Business Model and the Chinoy SMEs, an exclusive webinar that will guide you on how to best manage your business at a very challenging time like this. And to do that, of course, we brought back one of the most awarded business educators in Asia, most notably recognized as the first and only Filipino to be included in the 10 outstanding young persons of the world in 2002. He's going the extra mile to hold another great session with us, which I think is a perfect way to give back as he celebrates his special day. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. But before that, this webinar will not be possible without Man Smith and Fielders in partnership with Chinoy TV. We would also like to thank the support of the Federation of Filipino Chinese Alumni Association Incorporated, Anvil Business Club, and the Philchai Tauke Group. So I know you're all very excited. I won't keep you guys waiting. Without further ado, here to discuss the 11 building blocks of a business model to create, deliver, and capture value for your business is one of the Philippines' top business educators and marketing gurus. A best-selling author of 18 books in marketing and entrepreneurship. He has gone on to become an executive scholar of the Kellogg Business School and MIT Sloan, as well as the course designer behind the 55 video course on business model, the first in the Philippines and Asia. Everyone, please welcome the chairman and chief innovation strategist of Man Smith and Fielders himself, Mr. Josiah Go.
Hello, Valerie. How are you?
Good. It's nice to see you again. This is our second run, and we are back by popular demand. I'm sure everyone's so eager to learn more.
Thanks for having me again. And thank
Yes.
you to our organizer. I'd like to share my screen. I have changed some of the formats. I'm going to subdivide my presentation, Valerie, into two parts. The first part, I'm just going to talk about business model and nothing else. The second part, I'm going to talk about the Chinoy business. No? Very interesting. I'm going to use the business model format to explain the Chinoy business so that we can have consistency of format. Let me again thank our co-sponsor. Without them, this seminar would not be possible. These are big organizations in Chinoy community, Chinoy TV, Anvil Business Club, Federation of Filipino Chinese Alumni Association, and Philchai Tauke Group. And thank you very much. And I am honored to have you also as our host for tonight, Valerie. The business model that I will explain to you will come from the 11 business building block that I've recently launched. In fact, I launched it last December. And in fact, there are 55 comprehensive videos in Continuum Academy. And in fact, I price it as the price of a book instead of a video. And many people were surprised. So today, I'm going to give you cases in SME, but it's not in the video. This is something special that I have prepared. So you can actually see something totally different. No? Now, I want to just tell you that there are three parts in a business model. The first part is your offering model. And in our case, I'm going to color code it yellow. The second part, after you have done with your offering model, then you go to the operating model. I am color coding it blue. And when you combine yellow and blue, you get green, which is the financial model. Financial model is actually a result of offering model getting done in the operating model. In other words, if I can explain it another way, it's about business model is about value creation. And then you have to deliver. You cannot just keep on planning. How do you create value? You need to deliver. And finally, you need to capture value. It would be sad for you to keep on offering something and then there is no profit. No? And I'm going to expand this whole framework into 11 building blocks. And this is the 11 building block. You can see the color coded are still there, yellow, blue, and green. Now there is a number sequence, which means that we always start with number 1 and ask ourselves, who's your target market? And then go to number 2, what's your value proposition? Because if you don't know who is your target market, then what is your value proposition doesn't matter, because it's a value proposition to who. Then it has to be very clear. No? And number 3 is in between 2 and 1. You want the value proposition to reach your target market, and you need a channel. And number 4 is in between 2 and 5. You need to convert value proposition to revenue. And the way to do it is you need to have a customer bonding strategy. Now, everything on my right side is called the offering model. Everything on my left side is called the operating model. And what you need to do as a business person is to always start with offering model. Look at what you want to offer to your consumer first. And then you go to the operating model on the left, because it would be funny to think of operating model without knowing what is it that you want to give your customer. Now, instead of doing definition of terms, I'm going to give you a different example. By the way, if you want to download a PowerPoint of a blank template together with the definition of terms, just go to Continuum Academy and you can download blank template with definition of terms. No? But instead, I'm going to go give examples so that we can be more practical. Another word for offering is marketing. Another word for value delivery is execution. And of course, value capture is about profitability. But let me promote the benefits of planning. Because, you know, there are so many businesses that there is no plan. They just do business. No? But can you imagine when you have a plan, you define who, what, where, how, then everybody understand each other. Who is your customer? What is going to be offered? Where are you offering it? And how are you going to offer it? So that's one benefit, very, very clear. In fact, and this is, I'm addressing to SME, many people complain, smaller companies are not as clear as larger companies because they have discipline in planning. And I said, well, you know, the smaller SMEs can also have discipline in planning by having a one-page business model map. Large companies can also do that. No? In fact, I am in the middle of training Kantar, which is the biggest market research company in the Philippines, in terms of the business model. They want to go beyond market research and understand business model. And another benefit of planning is you can agree on priorities. So if you look at this building block, you can see which one is our priority, which one do we do first. And then you can establish what are activities that we need to do. And we need to allocate resources. Because there is a plan, then we can allocate resources. And then we can monitor. At the end of the day, I always tell people, allocation decision, we all make allocation. We have to make decision. Decision are allocation. You need to allocate time, budget, resources. Allocation comes from monitoring. And if you don't monitor, what's the basis of your allocating? It's going to be a guessing game. Because you have a plan, you know what to monitor. And then there is basis for evaluation because it's very clear to you what you want to plan. And at the end of the day, you can share your learnings with everybody in the company and you know what to improve. There is no perfect company. So don't be bothered if there are imperfections because there are no perfect company. Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is about system thinking. Now, there are 11 building blocks. And you can say, wow, 11 building blocks. So it looks like it's a system. And my answer here is yes, because we need to have system. We cannot just look at one and then, they are not interconnected. Everything are interconnected. No? And what are the benefits of system thinking? Well, one is that your sense making is holistic. You're not making sense only on your value proposition. You're making sense of value proposition in connection with all the others. You have a common language in the company. You can zoom out for big picture, and you can break down complexity into building blocks. See, the reason why companies or executives or entrepreneurs think things are very difficult is they don't break it down. In my case, I break it down to 11 building blocks. So it's a lot easier to plan. And then we understand all of these are interdependent. You change one, it will affect another. You have an integration mindset. The engineers will know what is system thinking, and it saves time and effort because it's in one look at it and it's easy. You're not talking about writing a 100-page business plan or a marketing plan. It's just a one-page business model, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then, of course, you have focus. You focus on the outcome, which is really about value. No? Now, so I'm going to show you 5 different examples. And so one, I'm going to talk about an IT company selling software. And then I'm going to talk about a training company. And then I'm going to talk about a direct selling company. And then I'm going to move to show you a video about a food delivery enterprise. And finally, I'm going to tell you what not to violate by showing you a barber shop. And some of these cases are new. Some I have used in the past. Now, the first case I'm going to use is a company called Agilis. And you can see on your screen, josiahgo.com, that's my blog. I recently wrote about 14 lessons I learned about the father and son working together. I interviewed actually Raul and Rico Santos. Rico is the father, Raul is the son. They belong to a company called Agilis Enterprise. And I want to talk about their company. I have permission to talk about their company. And I asked Raul, I said, can you try to do it? And, Raul gave it to me. And then I improved on it. I sent it back. I said, this is your business model. And we talk again, and, he's quite comfortable with the business model map that I've shared. But I also want you to pay attention to the lower right hand of what I showed you, because the lower right hand said my birthday is up. It's actually tomorrow, April 22. And there is a website, day8.org. So in case if you are saying, what's happening there? Win a free consulting. I'm sorry, it's already taken. It's full. So I'm going to spend tomorrow doing what I love most, which is to help companies, to help people, and I'm doing it for free as a service. But don't feel bad about it. You can go to day8.org. 3 of my courses will be free to anybody who wants to watch it up to April 25. So this is part of our Bayanihan spirit during COVID. So enjoy. There are so many videos, and I hope you pick up something. So I'm going to share the first case, which is Agilis, an IT company. The first thing is I'm going to show you who is the target market. And you can see the target market of a software company is SMEs, small, medium scale enterprises. which is the focus of Agilis. They're not interested in the big companies because the big companies probably already have systems. No? So SME is interested to attain operational efficiency. It means they already have some sales and they're starting to be bogged down because the system is no longer effective. They're no longer efficient. So it's very clear. They are interested to attain operational efficiency by computerization, or they want to upgrade their loose system. So maybe they might have maybe an inventory system here or ordering system, but it's not integrated, and they want to integrate their loose system. So that's their target market. What do they offer? Well, the value proposition is they are offering the most affordable plug-and-play ERP enterprise system with training and feedback support. So that's what they offer. And it's very clear. They are the most affordable. So if you want ERP, you can possibly go to Agilis Enterprise. Now, how do they reach customers? Well, number 3 is in the intersection of 1 and 3. They reach customers 3 ways: before transaction, during the transaction, after the transaction. You can actually do that. You don't have to be limited to one. So before the transaction, they give a lot of talks, and I've seen them giving talks in Union Bank. I've seen them giving talks they're invited by different groups. You can invite them to your organization. And then if you're interested, then they show up either through Zoom or visit their sales force will visit you. And after that, for maintenance purposes, they have a different service group who's going to service you. So they have 3 different channels. So pretty clear. 1, 2, and 3 is pretty clear. And I want to advise you, if you do your business model map, question number 1 is in fact the most difficult. A lot of times when I ask my client, who's your target market? And the answer is everybody. And I tell them, if you want to focus on everybody, then you focus on nobody. You need to be able to think through. And one of the things is to look at your customer data. If you're an ongoing enterprise, look who's buying from you and check out what's their profile. Or talk to them. Why did you buy from me? And these are some of the tips that I'm going to give you. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is customer bonding. And customer bonding is 3 ways: awareness, trial, and repeat purchase. So it's like, you're a guy, you want to court a girl. The girl has to know you, awareness. You have to go on a date, that's trial. The girl likes you, you go on another date, get married, hopefully repeat purchase, customer loyalty. Okay, very easy customer bonding. So what's a customer bonding? Social media, number 1. They do it through social media. Number 2, they do it also through webinars. They get known by giving webinars. Number 3, they have a lot of trial programs. And you can say, can I just try? And they say, yeah, sure. They can install and let you try it. And then after that, they have an annual support maintenance program. All IT companies, they have a maintenance program. IT, you never finish because your company expand and your need would be different. So when you expand, they also expand their services and they have continuous customer engagement. Number 5 is revenue model. So how do they make money? So what about you? How do you make money? In the case of Agilis, first is when they sell the product to you, they make money. Second, if you have many users, they charge more. If you have fewer users, they charge less. Fair enough. Number 3 is if you want to have more programs, they have to customize it for you. They are not fond of customizing, but if they will customize, they can do it. They will charge you extra. And number 4, of course, the annual maintenance, because they also have manpower on standby in case you need service. So very clearly, you can see in one page on the right side, offering model. Very clear. And my advice to you is do not do the left side. Do not do the operating model if you're not done with the offering model. Why? Because what for? How will you operate if you don't know what you're offering? Plain and simple, right? Now let's go to number 6. Number 6, value chain, is the step-by-step process, step-by-step activities, how your value proposition is going to be delivered. That's the reason why value chain is located beside value proposition. So in the case of Agilis, how? Well, they have their own suppliers. And then you have, the suppliers goes to Agilis, they have the technical team. When the technical team are in place, marketing looks for client, marketing and sales. And then after that, they have to train you how to use it. And then the maintenance comes in. And when you put the whole value chain together, they are now confident to say we can offer the most affordable plug and play ERP integrated system with training and feedback support. That's how it works. Now, why is there 6 and 7? Well, because value chain is the forest. Number 7, processes. These are the important trees. Not all trees in the forest are important. There are more important trees. So what do you call them? You call them key processes. So such as the importance of acquisition, customer acquisition is a very important process for them. The importance of project management. Once they close an account, you sign with them. What are they going to do to follow the timetable? And of course, in terms of processes within your company's systems, they are now going to use their knowledge and say, well, this is your process, but maybe here is our recommendation. And you have the help desk, the service help desk, which is also an important process because the response time and the quality of response are important. And then CRM, customer relationship management. So you can see that you don't have to write everything. You actually write the most important. And, for entrepreneur, for top management, you don't have to manage, micromanage everything. You just have to manage the more important things. And then number 8 are resources. Resources are hard asset or soft asset, which means what are assets that you need to make it work. In their case, they need knowledge, how to do it, how to do the software. They also need training support. And then, of course, they also need relationship so that it's easier to close a sale because of trust. And then number 9, who's going to help them? Key complementers, their principals, their suppliers. And then customization providers. If you want to customize, they have a group of people who can help customization. And of course, the webinar providers who's going to invite them. And number 10 is very important. I want to pay attention because many times in companies, I do not see number 10. Well, most companies try to convince me they have not number 10, but most companies do not. They just relabel it. So I want to show you in the case of Agilis, reconfiguration is about innovation. How are you going to be innovative? What is your start doing and stop doing? Which means you need to be industry first or industry pioneer. But it's not just about following everything. You also have to stop something. For example, they're not very hot about very high customization work because their value proposition and the target market is the most affordable plug and play. It cannot be affordable if you want high customization. And so they have to choose their client. And then, of course, to start doing is they have a free ERP app. And everything boils down to number 11. Everything boils down to costs. So what are the costs? The product, the platform, the admin, the overheads, no? And of course, you have reseller commissions. And you also have outsourcing costs, those who are going to do customization. So I ask you to take a look at the business model of one company in IT. The yellow, the blue boils down to the green color. And my artisan said that yellow, if you combine it with blue, is green. I said, wow, good to be reminded. I almost forgot about it. Truth be told. And so if revenue minus cost is profit. So if you want to increase your profit, guess what? Take a look at, there are only two things that can improve your profit. One is you increase your revenue. Two is you decrease your cost, or you do both. Now, if you want to increase your revenue, take a look at the right side, the yellow color. If you want to reduce your cost, take a look at the left side, the blue color. If you want to do both, take a look at all the building blocks. Certainly, you can take one building block at a time. There are only 11 building blocks. These building blocks will support your vision. And so if you ask three different people in the IT business, they might show you three different business models. Why? Because the visions are not the same. Some people are not very aggressive. They just want to, it's a hobby for them. The others have very ambitious goal. And you can see it's gonna be totally different. Pricing would not be the same. The way they service client is not going to be the same. So you can see in one page. Now, I always tell my client, and I said, if you come up with 100-page business plan, 100-page marketing plan, and then you can write so many nonsense there. And if there are 10 product managers, you get 10 plan. By the time you start reading the third plan, you already have a headache and you're already tired. But hey, this is one page. What is it telling you? You cannot escape one page because everything can be seen. And if you explain this to everybody, everybody will understand because it's just one page. For example, the marketing people will say, oh, yeah, I'm on the right side. And the operations people will say, yeah, I'm on the left side. The finance people will say, I'm on the bottom side. And the HR people say, I need to support everyone. And you know that a business model map helps create order in just one page, which is the beauty of system thinking, the beauty of planning. No? I want to show you a second case so you can see. In fact, this is my company. No? Day 8, it's the social enterprise subsidiary of Mansmith, focusing on SME. And this was started 11 years ago. We have Rescue Marketing Rescue Program. And we pivoted just a few months ago into online subscription. Either you pay 1,688 or 2,988. You can have 90 videos or 300 videos, and you have 1 year to watch. Of course, you know, you can just watch one video a day. You finish all videos. And we have so many videos from so many people. Former president of Avon, the chief behavior strategist of Mansmith. Bong Makasayat is the author, best-selling author of books on channel and sales management. Rowan is in sales. Donald Lim is in digital. Queenie used to be VP of SM. We also have Albert for digital. Louis is in PR in Asia Pacific. Ron Trabalio is in B2B, ex-Unilever. Uwe is from BPO, Senior Director of various BPO. Mon Barredo is Unilab, formerly in pharma industry. Mariel Foronda is in training. In other words, you have top-notch speakers, and you can choose the topic. It's up to you. What do you feel? Now, why am I telling you? Because I'm going to show you the business model map. Am I afraid? No. Why not? Because at the end of the day, it's about execution. It's, you know, you can copy somebody's business model map, but if you cannot get it done, and if you don't have moat or barrier to entry, then you have to watch out. So I'm going to talk about moat or barrier to entry in my third case. So let me go to my second case. And you can see day 8. Let me start with reconfiguration, because you can also start that way. You don't have to start with number 1. You can start with innovation, an idea based on a white space. So what was the white space? I figured there is no company in training doing subscription for the whole year. So what we did was we just changed it, annual subscription, pay one price, either 1,688 or 2,988. And you can watch 24/7. It's up to you. You cannot sleep in the evening, watch. No? And we stop per seminar charge. Isn't that radical? So are we not disrupting ourselves? No. Why? Because a market exists because of different segments. Day 8 is different segment. Management is different segment. And for the last 11 years, we have come to conclusion that our management customers do not go to day 8 and day 8 do not go to management, except for maybe 1 or 2% cannibalization. So who's our target market? We have 3 target markets. First, HR of companies with limited training budget. And many companies cut budget. No? So almost everybody cut budget. Number 2, businesses with SMEs as customer. Let's say you have a sales organization and you have distributors, they're SMEs. Or you are a telecom company and you are providing telecom services to many SMEs. And the third type of customer are self-development individual people who'd like to develop themselves. They're progressive thinkers, just like you. I mean, you could be watching Netflix, but you would rather learn business. So congratulations. And you are self-development individuals. You're interested to develop yourself. What is our value proposition? How did we write it? Easy. Annual subscription business courses for one low price, featuring credible speakers. Now, anybody can come up with speakers, but credible speakers, that's kind of tough. The channel is the website, is our platform. The customer bonding strategy, awareness is social media, email. We have sampling, like 3 of my seminars are for free, part of our sampling too. And then every so often we have new launches, so we put the videos there. And then we have events. What's our revenue model? One price, 1688 or 2988, depending on what people. Surprisingly, we thought 1688 would be popular, but it so happened that, almost everybody end up buying 2988 because of the value. You get 3 times the value at 2 times the price. No? And there are corporate packages. Again, as you look at the offering model, it's very clear. I have not gone into budgeting and putting all this stuff. The business model is not like that. No? And you know that there is a continuum loop in the middle. The continuum loop doesn't close. Why is this so? Because there's no such thing as a loop that is going to close. There's no such thing as a business model that will last forever. I don't know if love will last forever. Maybe love will last forever, but business model will not last forever for sure. You have a pandemic, you need to pivot. If the consumers will change, you need to change your business model. If the environment will change, you have to review your business model. So that's my advice. No? And then look at value chain. We have speakers, we have content, we have production, platform, marketing, CRM, that is going to push value proposition. So what is management all about? Management is about value chain. Because what you need to do as entrepreneurs is you take a look at your value chain, and if your value proposition is not doing well, look at your value chain. Don't keep on changing your value proposition. For all you know, the execution in the value chain is bad, not the value proposition. I always have a client who would always ask me and said, Josiah, we have a problem. And I said, and many times there's nothing wrong with the value proposition. There's something wrong with them. They keep on changing. I said, take a look at your value chain. Because every arrow there, you can just rate plus, equal, minus. Speakers, maybe a plus, content would be plus, but a chain is as strong as the weakest link. So if you have a weak link, then the whole thing might be pulled down. So you have to start saying, where will be my area for improvement? So for example, in the case of Day 8, our area for improvement is in marketing. Why? Because we just changed it from a regular seminar to a subscription base. seminar company, and we have to let people know. So we have to work harder in marketing. So what are important processes? Speakers, the choice of speaker validating. Every year, we always have people who want to be speakers, but unfortunately, we cannot accept everyone. We ask ourselves, does this person, well, first, the speakers have to be better than me. They have to be specialists and they have to be better than me. So all the speakers that you see there are better than me in their own field. And second, they have to be humble. And three, they have to be able to answer my question, because just like you, if you ask me a question, I answer it. But if I ask them a question and they cannot answer and I am the participant, for example, I would be disappointed. And then NPD, new product development, web analytics, CRM, resources, knowledge. If tomorrow the platform will going to collapse, we can redo everything. It's in our head. And then the database, we have a database, then you have IT, then you have, of course, the network, and our speakers. Part of our strength is our speakers are exclusive to us. And then our complementers, who's going to help us, their speakers, the IP owners, and the platform suppliers. And finally, of course, we have professional fees, IT, shared admin, and marketing. One page. Day 8, Business Academy, business mode. So if you're a school, maybe you should take a look at this. And so since we are the first subscription in the Philippines, then we create a standard. The standard is 2988, 300 videos. So if people cannot do it, then they should not be in that business, because we have already defined the standard. Now I want to go into my third example, and I'm going to talk about Waterphilips, which is a company closely associated with me. It's a market leader in home water purifier. It's direct selling. It used to be sold in retail store. It was not direct selling when it started. And so this is both business model innovation, and it's very high quality but long life. No, so it's like when you look at the total life cycle cost, waters is much cheaper than the water refill station, and you can have it for installment 888, or you can even have it up to 40 months installment. And these are in-house finance. We're debt-free company, which is good, because during the pandemic, if you have debts, the burden is much higher, and we're a debt-free company, and we finance up to 40 months. And we have other products, of course, for cross-selling, endorsed by the former health secretary, alternative medicine product, Noah and Cell Cleanse, sucks out what you don't need in your body. Water purifier, do you drink what, to be healthy? And then the other one is suck out. Now, why am I telling you? Because it's a totally different industry. And so I'm going to carefully curate industries so that you can see, I'm going to pick up a few things, and then your assignment is go to Continuum, download the PowerPoint and the definition of terms, and you fill it up yourself. Okay? So don't be overwhelmed. First time, maybe say, tama ba? But it's okay, so don't be overwhelmed. So my target market is very easy. I defined water refill station users. If they spend 100 pesos per week, they're my target market. In fact, working from home, the typical answer I get is people spend 200 pesos a week. So I said, if you spend 200 pesos a week, so that's 800 pesos a month. In 1 year, you spend 10,000 just for drinking water. In your lifetime, you're gonna spend 800,000 pesos just for drinking water. Every time I quantify it, people are taken aback. See, I have just identified a latent need. And some of the latent need, you have to explain it to your customer. And that's the reason why this is a direct sales company. You need to explain it to your customers. Very similar to B2B. Sometimes the features cannot be seen. You have to explain it. So what's the value proposition? It's 3-in-1 purified mineral alkaline. And it's 16,000 liters long life filter, delicious tasting water, and there's installment. Number three, what's the channel? Network direct selling, plus now it's online. Number four, social media. Then you do cross-selling. Revenue model is product sales. When we sell on installment, we earn interest income or leasing. No? Then we make money, parts, filters, and service. When we cross-sell, there's revenue there. And if customer don't want to buy, they just want to do per use for the ion cleanse, we do servitization revenue. So again, you take a look at the right side, very clear. Now, am I interested in target market who are buying from water refill station 50 pesos a month? No, I'm not interested. Why? They probably would have low motivation doing it. So why waste my time? It's probably cheaper for them to just continuously buy bottled water. You get it? So it has to be very clear. Value chain, import, exclusive distributor, independent seller, delivery, collection, service. Processes, credit, collection, inventory, CRM. Resources, brand, exclusivity, system, training is important in direct sales. And then you have relationship. Complementers, we have our Korean principal, independent sellers, courier for delivery, and the payment centers. And reconfiguration, start doing, Waters is the first home water purifier using network direct selling. Stop retail store, stop house to house. Because the market leader at that time was looking knock on the door, house to. I'll tell you later why we stopped doing that. So it's a choice. What you want to start, what you want to stop doing. And the cost, product, commission, add me, marketing in one page. Am I afraid to show you my company's business model? No. I mean, if people ask for it, in fact, I talk about it freely. I said, yeah, sure. I mean, but can they do it? Depends. So I want to tell you, I'm going to encircle a couple of things because these are very important. These are called barriers to entry. When you design your business model, you have to start thinking, what are barriers to entry? You call it moat, no? M-O-A-T. Moat is the body of water surrounding a castle. And unless the castle is going to pull down the bridge, you cannot cross to the castle. So there's a body of water that prevents you from entering the castle. Why is this so? Because if you become successful, your competitor will try to get a piece of what you have. They're going to eat your lunch. So you have to understand to come up with installment is difficult. And to have and you have to cover your ears to have the balls to do installment and not have 100% collection performance. Some are not very comfortable with that. No? And so that's a barrier to entry. I have entered the market in the 80s. So I have made my money many times over. And if I have a down payment based on 888, which is 3 or 4% of my retail price, people are shocked and say, what? I said, yeah, but I've already made my money and these are all gravy. So that's your barrier to entry. An older company and a newer company, of course, your strategies cannot be the same. And then I am using independent sellers. That's the reason why part of the resources would be my relationship with the sales leaders, because these are independent. My installment is another barrier to entry because you need to set up a whole financing team within that company. And you need to have, in fact, our last business review, I said, so what kind of portfolio we can already open a rural park, no? And I laughed, no? And then you look at revenue model, interest income, that's another source of income. Servitization is another source of income. Some people may not want to take the risks of servitization because what if you have one use and nobody wants it anymore? I said, but that's a risk. So it depends on how you mitigate the risk. The first one, making a choice, not doing a knock on the door, not doing house to house, is what you call LOS. LOS is logic of strategy, not logic of industry. Logic of industry is another word for key factor for success. Whatever everybody else is doing, it's called the key factor for success, normally dictated by the market leader. The way market leader becomes successful, you can already define the key factor for success. But the logic of industry, or the key factor for success, is not an airtight way to be successful. Because if it is, then everybody who followed would have been successful. What you need to do is, if you are a latecomer, and I was not the early comer in the water purifier industry, is you need to identify what are rules of engagement. Not for you to follow the rules, but for you to break the rules. But the first question is, what are the rules? Logic of industry. Then break the rules, logic of strategy. Logic of strategy is to stand out. How do you stand out? Step one, what are the rules? Step two, start doing, stop doing. That's the secret. I'm going to show you evidence later of so many companies that became so big because of logic of strategy. So you need to examine yourself. You need to examine your company and say, oh my goodness, if I come up with my business model, will it look like my competitor? Because if it looks like your competitor, there is no difference between your business model and your competitor. You might even want to ask, do you actually have a strategy, or you have activities? Because many companies I discovered have activities, but they don't have strategies. They pretend they have strategy. They have strategy meeting, but I don't see strategy. Why? Because it doesn't stand out. It's the same. You cannot distinguish their strategy and the business model versus their competitor. It's all the same. So that's a reality check. The second is the value proposition installment. When you have been doing, so the initial payment price, which is very low compared to the total price, is a barrier to entry. So what is your barrier to entry? The new sources of revenue, value. The other thing is your value chain. To set up direct sales is very difficult. To manage a direct sales force on commission base is extremely difficult. Why? Because they don't have salary. They're commission based. So, think about Avon, the Tupperware. These are independent. It's not easy because there are so many things that you need to train them, and you're not even sure if they will stay. And of course, Waters became the #1 waters country in Asia. Before, it was selling in the retail store. It was not doing very well. No? And then eventually it changed to network direct selling. In no time at all, Waters was awarded in China. It beat Thailand and China and became the #1 waters country in Asia. Okay. The fourth case, I'm going to talk about online food delivery case. Online food delivery. I'm going to show you a portion because you can go to YouTube, go to business model channel, Josiah Go, business model channel, and you can see this 4-minute video. This is the Mansmith business model map with 11 building blocks. Here is an example of a business model map for an upscale food delivery. How can you improve this? Expand your target market to foodies. Not all Class AB individuals are foodies, and not all foodies are from Class AB. It's not enough for food to be delicious. Will your product save time on preparation? Plus, what occasion would you like to dominate? Do you want to provide food for Sundays? Menus might be different. Create a website and join Viber groups to diversify your online presence. If prospects did not like your menu, they may get interested in a monthly special, which gets more people to try it. That's how you get a database to develop a relationship with customers. In terms of your revenue model, you have food sales. But are they for lunch or dinner? What about lean hours? If you expand, think about what else you can sell with your food. If you sell chicken and you buy in the supermarket, that's more expensive than suppliers restaurants use. That is a disadvantage. How do you reduce costs? Value isn't just for the customers, but for the stockholder as well. You and your business partners need discipline to improve your business. With this in mind, can you do franchising? Who says franchising isn't applicable to online selling? If you are based in one big city and someone wants your food in another, delivery distance is far. Think of others in that area who may not know how to cook but are business-minded. They can get original products from you, reheat it, follow your system, and sell it. On the branding side, you don't want to be just another seller. You want to create a demand. Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I just want to show you a part. You can just go to YouTube, to the business model channel. And what I also have other business model map there posted. There are over, I think, 15 videos there or something. So enjoy, no? I want to talk about my last case on business model for SMEs. And my last case is about a barber shop. Very strange, this barber shop doesn't exist anymore. There was a franchise company who went to see me and he said, Josiah, would you like to invest in a franchise of a barber shop? I said, yeah, why not? So, so tell me more. I said that it's a thematic barber shop where the barbers will dress like construction workers, just like how you see. So I said, okay, so why do I need the helmet for? I mean, how will that improve the haircut? So these are fundamental questions. And you can see there are many companies that try to be unique, but they're not relevant because the helmet is not relevant. So they're actually uniquely irrelevant. And many companies are like that. So audit yourself. Do not be uniquely irrelevant. No? But before you become unique, try to be relevant first. No? So the barbershop wants to have construction team. They have helmet. They want to do overall. So that means they have to spend for cost that doesn't add value. So I want to ask you in this webinar, are you spending cost that doesn't add value? What makes you so sure that it's adding value? And that's a very important question, because if it doesn't add value, don't spend. And then, of course, I asked the franchise company and said, so tell me more, tell me more. And he said, we're going to give free juice drinks. We're going to have fantastic customer service. All our customers will get juice drinks. I said, oh, wow. Of course, mentally, I was already counting. If I buy a franchise, I have to pay for the juice, right? Juice costs money. And then what else? Well, we're going to charge 5 pesos less. So if I'm going to pay 5 pesos more, for example, for the juice, and I have to collect 5 peso less, so I'm going to end up having 10 peso difference, inferior profitability, and I would have higher costs. And first is I talk about don't be uniquely irrelevant. Second, this is called the law of double jeopardy. When you have lower revenue and higher costs, lower revenue, higher cost means you have smaller margin, double jeopardy. The opposite of double jeopardy is double benefit. What's double benefit? When you can have a higher revenue, maybe even higher price and lower cost, you will have higher profitability. If you have barrier to entry, then competitor would not enter. So I'm showing you part of a business model map to demonstrate to you what you should not be doing. I'm going to tell you more violation in a while. But in general, you want to avoid, the law of foolish fellowship. And let me just remind you of what I said a while ago that says if your business model map looks exactly the same, as in exactly the same, and I'm saying it categorically, that your strategy might be in question. But, of course, many people will defend themselves and say, yeah, but we have different value propositions. So what's your value proposition? So I want to tell you, avoid being different in the same way. So just look at different companies. They have different logo, different design, different color, different variety. And I said, well, is that differentiation? Not very sure. Because you can be different in a different way, which is your business model differentiation, or you can be different in the same way, which is what 90+% of companies are actually doing. In fact, 99% of companies supplying supermarket do not even have a category growth strategy. They try to be different in the same way. You want to be different in a different way. So that's my advice to you. So your differentiation is not just on the right side, not just on the offering model. Your differentiation can also be operationally different. Okay, I'm gonna give you evidence. Chokes to go. What is the reconfiguration of Chokes to go? Start doing. They have 1,700 rotisserie store. They started with one store, very small store, and then they went to 1,700 stores. And they are an integrator. So who can beat them? Now, and then they stop sauce. To sauce-loving Filipinos, they stop sauce, no sauce. And they sell 100,000 chicken now. Can you imagine? No sauce. So how much did they save? So what did they do with the amount they saved? They don't, they usually do it, during typhoon, during community, and you need to help other people. That's what they get their money from. But there is evidence to show that you have to start thinking of reconfiguration, not just about changing the label, but really asking yourself, what would be industry first? The first integrator with their own. Now, I'm going to show you a second case. Union Bank, the start doing is digital first. Union Bank has over 200 branches. They're probably number 8 or number 9 in terms of physical branches. The number 1, number 2 has more than 1,000 branches. Union Bank knew that they will always end up playing catch up. If you're a market challenger, you know what I'm talking about. Whatever you do, competitors will also do. It will nullify whatever you have done. And every year you play catch up. And Union Bank said, what's the logic of industry? You always have to keep on adding branches. Let's change the rules. Start doing digital first. Stop doing physical branches. And so they stop expanding except for opportunistic physical branches. Right at this moment, when you're attending a seminar, you can download their app and open an account, zero balance. The other banks will require you to show up in their bank, even if you're afraid to go there. We said, Mom, sorry, you have to show up. And you have to give us submission. But they're zero balance. And if you want to deposit a check, anything less than $500,000, which is most of the time you have less than $500,000 anyway, you scan it, it's considered deposited. It's digital banking. I want to show you a third case, this time an international case. Starbucks started second wave coffee. But what did they stop? Stop kitchen. Most restaurants, Starbucks is a restaurant. Most restaurants have kitchen, except Starbucks. Everything oven, 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 oven. Double benefit. They charge you a high price, their cost is low. Why? Because they don't have cost for kitchen. Everything is selling area. There's no, and kitchen is non-revenue. Everybody else, the conventional wisdom is you need to have kitchen in an expensive mall space. Conventional wisdom. And I'm telling you, challenge conventional wisdom. Who said you always have to give sauce? Who said you always have to open more branches? Well, traditional people, the more you are expert of your industry, I tell you, the more you will think in the same way. Why? Because you're used to a particular way of doing things. That's the reason why I always warn companies. Beware of what expert will tell you, because the expert will tell you what they know, but they will not tell you business model because they don't know it. Marketing and business model are two different things. But the beauty of it is I started in marketing, I know business model, I married the two, now I'm wiser. I can look at offering model and operating model at the same time. Let me proceed. Waters Philippines. I started network direct selling. I started installment. I stopped retail store. I stopped house to house. Why did I stop it? The market leaders at that time was doing house to house, knock on the door, ring on the bell, tap on the windows too. Why? Because we saw when we analyzed more women working, who's going to open the door? Condos are expected to be popular. Who's going to allow you to knock on the door of condos? And peace and order deteriorating. In fact, even COVID, you knock on the door, people will run after. They won't even open. You get it? Sometimes many things are staring at you. Consumers have changed. The external environment have changed. It's staring at you, but you have not changed. So we have to be very sensitive to this. So in summary, and then I'm going to do Q&A and come back for my short second part. I have a short second part about the Chinoy SMEs. So I'm going to summarize. Business model supports vision and opportunity. So they also depends on your vision. They also depends on how big is the opportunity. Is your vision, is the opportunity about winning the game, winning the championship, or making a legacy? These are three different goals, three different visions. Value creation must be relevant. It's not about uniqueness. You have to be relevant first and then think about uniqueness after. Beware of the double jeopardy. Number 4, create barriers to entry. Number 5, value chain can help create differentiation operationally. Before, I was taught that differentiation should be through marketing mix. Nonsense. Don't believe that. You can create differentiation through your business model. Just look at Amazon. And finally, think about logic of strategy, not logic of industry. And these are things that I'd like to share with you. So I'm going to answer a question first, so that I don't know your question, so that you can be more relevant. Ask me about your company, and then I'm going to show you some opportunities, resources, and then show you the last part, which is about, I think, about 5 or 6 slides. Okay, so thank you very much. Let me stop share screen.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Josiah Go, for laying down the fundamentals of a business model and also the new cases where the model is successfully applied. It
Sure.
actually makes me take a hard look on my own business, and I'm sure for our attendees too, on how they can improve their own businesses.
You can even do business model map for your vlogging business.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Even, yeah, oh, I know, because it is considered a business, no?
Yes.
Yes, that's
Unless
true.
you
That's true.
consider it a hobby.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Well, I think our attendees now will be a perfect time to find out what they think. Okay, Sir Josiah, let us start with the first question from Terence Uygongko.
Yep.
How do you sell commodity-based products?
Very interesting question. I hope you are not offended, but I'd like to think that commodity is in the mind of a lazy entrepreneur. There is no such thing as a commodity. Differentiation can happen. And the differentiation doesn't have to be in the product. Differentiation can be in the service. Differentiation can be in the strategic partnering activities. So in other words, if you are transactional, you will always, it will always be a commodity. Get out of being transactional and you can differentiate yourself.
Mhm. That's very interesting. Like I'm taking time to process it and to absorb it because a lot of the small businesses, enterprises, they really think of it as very transactional, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's very enlightening. Okay, our
Yep.
next question, Sir Josiah. Will it be harder to apply the business model during this time in the pandemic?
No, in fact, it's automatic. Like, remember last year, a year ago, ECQ, the government said, if you're non-essential, you stop operating. In fact, it's already telling you something is wrong with your business model because you cannot operate. So automatically, you need to change your business model.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why, by the way, later I'm gonna plug it. I'm gonna plug an event where I'm gonna show a research study that I did last year during the ECQ of 45 companies that were not supposed to operate, but they operated. But they're non-essential. What did they do in their business model? I'm gonna talk about that later.
Okay, very exciting. Okay,
Exactly.
our next question is from R. Lee. Given that all education has moved online, how do you yourself differentiate your own company that is offering the same service?
Yeah. So number one is in our training service. Can you imagine 3 days after ECQ, we have a digital platform? It caught my competitor flat-footed. But 3 days after, we were offering a seminar, 3,500 attended. And people got shocked and said, oh my goodness, how can they be so fast? Because we were prepared ahead of time. So we were about to launch. We just launched it 1 month ahead of time.
That's interesting because a lot of the companies right now, they're just after the ECQ, that's when they started to build their digital
The, the, the,
platforms.
the best way to do your business model to review is when you don't need it yet. Because when you need it, and let's say, look at Union Bank, they did it even before.
Yes.
But suddenly, if you want to do it now, prices of IT services have gone up. Those in IT, you know it, no? Kasi demand and supply. And everybody said, oh, I want it, I want it. When is the deadline? Yesterday. You have to
Yes.
everybody's in a hurry. Of course, the IT said, yeah, but we have to do overtime and so you have to pay more. No? And now you have to do salaries, you have to pay more and
Our
Okay.
next question is from Steven. Do
Okay.
you have any samples of a loss leader business model?
Uh, well, in some countries, loss leader would not be allowed, no? Because of unfair competition. So you're not supposed to sell low, at a much lower to kill your competitor. But in the US, so allow me to use a US example, no? In the US, actually, and you can read it in the internet. These are widely available. When Amazon, before they took over diaper.com, they actually sold diapers at a very, very low price. And so that's an example of a company using price as a strategy.
Mhm. Okay. Our next question is from Nicole Mo. How do you innovate or challenge conventional business ideas given the amount of transparency ushered in by the technology of this generation?
Well, just look at the banking industry. The banking industry is highly regulated. So how come Union Bank is, the thought leader now? Everybody talks about Union Bank. Nobody talks about the big banks. It's always about the GCash, the Union Bank, and all of these things. So even if you're highly regulated and you have to be very transparent about it, you can actually do innovation. And I taught you, in fact, how to do it.
Mhm.
And so let me repeat that. One step is you look at the logic of industry. And then step two is you look at start doing and stop doing. But you have to solve pain points. And the pain points is for you to be relevant before you become unique.
Yes. Okay. Our next question. Most of the first gen businesses do not follow business models because they actually do businesses based on intuition. So when is the right time for the next generation to adapt to this business model?
Because the business model map has not yet been invented at that time.
Yes, yes, yes.
You get it? That's the reason why they don't have it. Edwin Bautista, who is president of Union Bank, was asked to comment about the business model map because they transformed before seeing the business model map. But when he saw the business model map and he said, oh my God, if I saw this business model map, it would have helped us a lot faster. That was his comment.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing this
Sure.
knowledge with us.
In fact, I posted the PowerPoint and the definition of terms in Continuum. You can download it, you can use it, apply it in your company. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for giving back your knowledge.
Sure.
Our last question for this first Q&A session is from Joseph Uy Ching.
Sure.
How do business involving consultancy or services stand out amongst competitors? I'm sure you would know this best.
Yeah. So are you asking me how to compete with me? Because I'm in that business now. You know, one of the things that when you start analyzing consulting business, consultant always say, well, you know, you should be multidimensional in your value proposition. Like go beyond functional, then you should have emotional, social, and you know all of these dimensions. But the thing here is, I realize many consulting companies do not practice it. They're very functional. They just give advice. In my case, in the case of Mansmith, we are the sponsor of the Young Market Masters Awards, and we don't do it for we don't charge a fee. It's really a service because we are advocacy company, and therefore we went beyond consulting solution. We went into bragging rights, emotional, social benefit when you are known that you're an awardee. I'm going to show you some pictures, in fact, after this. I talk about the Young Market Masters Award. So, you know, I want to just show you the website. If you want to know previous awardees, the last 15 years, some of them you can see, no? And their history, their story. Just go to youngmarketmasters.com. The search is up to the end of April, so which is very timely, no? Because you can go there, you can nominate your friend, 35 years old and below. In fact, I'm going to show you Injap Sia of Mang Inasal, who was our awardee 11 years ago. And he actually shared a 1-minute video, answered 2 questions. So I'm going to show you what he said.
The economic crisis was actually an opportunity for Mang Inasal because the desire of the consumers to find affordable products gave us the advantage over our competitors, which was why we had to expand Mang Inasal rapidly. This was our main strategy. First, you have to be creative. You have to think out of the box. It's good to rely on proven ideas, but you have to be always on the lookout for fresh ideas. Next is agility. You have to be fast as well. If an opportunity comes, you have to be ready to grab it immediately.
Okay, so can you imagine Injap Sia, just before he sold it to Jollibee, he was still he was just starting at the time, but he was expanding very aggressively. So we're always looking for the next Injap Sia, not only in entrepreneurship, in marketing, in sales. We also have another award, which is, there's no entry fee. We don't charge anything. And we just finished our first batch, Mansmith Innovation Awards. These are for innovators. And innovation is being first in the industry, not first in the company. You can be, it's the first time you're doing it in your company, but everybody else has done it in their industry. You're playing catch up. That's not innovation, that's catch up. No. So, like Union Bank is an example, first, digital first. Kenneth Colbompoy, furniture maker from Cebu. William Tully, Mega Sardini, their business model used to be fishing. Then they went into canning. Beatriz Valdez in the jewelry business, international designs and everything else. And then we have an incubator. Katrina Chan, Barnaby Chong is in shoes. The 499 school shoes that you saw is done by CHG, no? Neogene Evangelista, branded generic medicine that are highly credible. And then you have Rosario Ilao in terms of technology. RJ Ledesma in food, Mercato Central, and Merlida Palencia in chemical, invented something that can clean water. No? So if you see yourself, as some of them, you can just go to Management Innovation Award. The search is also ongoing. And you can nominate your supplier, nominate somebody. It's pretty tough to win. And then, of course, I'm going to give you additional resources. You want to learn more, you can go to National Bookstore or Lazada or Shopee. Chiki and I, we have a book on entrepreneurship. We also have several other books. The Maverick is Best Business Book of the Year, 2019. There's no 2020 Best Business Book. I don't think anybody launched a new book last year. No? But if you see me shamelessly plugging my books, because all of our books goes to charity. No? We help so many people who are in medical needs, in need scholarship, and so forth and so on. So please, let's patronize. Entrepreneurship is the #1 book now in schools, no? And many schools are actually prescribing. No? I am doing an event on May 5. Somebody asked me about pivoting. So here, on May 5, this is just going to be 2 hours, just like today. And I'm going to talk about opportunity seeking when growth is difficult. I'm going to show you 11 real examples of opportunities that is staring at us. Examples that I have not shared today. No? And then 22 inspiring cases done by many others. And by enrolling this, you can actually attend and watch the 55 videos for free. No? And again, it's the cost of a book, of a very good book. No? And then if you want to learn more in 5 sessions, you can just join by Business Bootcamp. You can take a shot of this if you wish. And then we can, the website is there and we can interact a little more.